Welcome back, webheads.
What up, what up?
What up? It is me, your boy, Steven, back again. I got my brother, my co-host here. What's your name?
My name is D. Perry.
Cool.
And I like to say, rapping is a fun way.
A fun way to what? What?
To learn the English language.
And just so you guys know, DeMarco's going to rap the whole story today.
I didn't say it's going to be a good one.
Let's get to it.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right. So what the hell have you been up to?
Well, as of this recording, last night I went to a concert.
Okay.
It's Bad Sons.
Okay.
Really good, really fun. It was a small venue. Me and Danny went.
Did you wear a mask?
San Francisco, so you have to be vaccinated.
Okay.
So everyone was vaccinated, and I think you had to have a booster. So that was cool. I got to see one of my favorite bands. Other than that, I've just been, trying to catch up on the readings. Mm-hmm. I've been doing my courses for my web development. I'm learning Python right now.
Nice. How's that going?
It's weird because I guess the core of it is based in math, but it's not math.
Yeah.
And so my mind is struggling because I can understand the concept of it, but when the math stuff comes in, then it's like I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm trying to see it as math, but also just see it as just normal language.
Yeah. Have you learned your zeros and ones?
Not yet.
No.
I've so far.
It's a lot simpler than it seems like it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I got my certificate for HTML, like basics, and then I've just gotten through like the beginning of Python. I'm going to go through it again next week because it literally took me 4 days just to kind of get through this first lesson.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through it again next week, and then I might start something else or the next part of it after.
Gotta get that shmoney, baby.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell myself like I don't need to do, because I was trying to be like, oh, I'll do this lesson this week. Next week I'll jump into the next thing. But I was like, what's the point? I'm doing this on my own time and setting my own pace. So it's not like I have to know it in this week and then jump to the next one.
The more time you spend like actually understanding the stuff that you're doing, the better off you'll be when you go in to try to get those jobs. Because some of the jobs, you're always on TikTok and you can see like the people who say, "Oh, I get into tech with no experience."
Yeah.
But like those ones that you need experience, like you got to do like actual like tests.
Yeah.
For the interviews and stuff. So you might as well just take your time with it and actually understand it.
Yeah. I gotta figure out if on the website I use, if there's anything to like help me just like play around with it outside of the lessons.
Yeah.
I remember some of the HTML stuff, but I want to just practice with it so it just becomes more natural to me.
Yeah, I'm sure they got like some kind of Mario typing game for HTML.
If anybody knows of anything, send it to me.
Send it to Marco's way. If I can send it my way too, I'll play it.
What about you? What have you been up to?
Since last week, nothing.
Nice.
Just work. And yeah, that's it. Just reading, catching up on some stuff. I'm still reading the Miles Morales Spider-Man from 2018. Because I've never read before. I never read any of the Miles Morales stuff. So like the first like real part of his story that I ever actually tried to figure out was from the video game. From Into the Spider-Verse. That was the first time I had ever seen anything like actually Miles Morales related. I think because he's such a new character, like there's not really like each series is still kind of like this last one or like the one previous to it. So it's like nothing really like backstories haven't changed. Characters are still the same. Like his uncle still was the Prowler. So you see some new characters every once in a while, but with regular Spider-Man, white Spider-Man, like things have changed like over the years. Like there's MJ looks different, or Gwen Stacy's. Yeah. So for this one, the story just keeps kind of staying the same with different storylines, but it's not bad. I like it. I'm only like 7 issues in, so I'm not far into it. I think it just ended last year, so it was like a 3-year run. So I still got a long way to go.
Yeah, I want to read more of his stuff. I kind of got started in like the Ultimate series, but it was like really towards the end of like the Ultimates where like they were canceling the whole line and moving them into the main one. I think I got into like the last run. After that, I think I stopped buying comics for a while, so I never really followed up with it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see him as like a character and eventually go through those changes. That's what kind of bothered me about Into the Spider-Verse. It's grown on me as a movie, but I didn't really think it was that great when it came out because everyone was saying it was great. His origin in the movie is very similar to Peter's, but just that his uncle's a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, and you know he's kind of growing up differently and all that. But I liked his original origin story where his uncle was framing him, like blackmailing him into doing like bad things. Like, I feel like that would have been a better kind of way to tell his story rather than, oh yeah, your uncle. I mean, he's a good guy, but he's a bad guy, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see more Miles showing up. I mean, he's already kind of in pop culture, anyways. You know, so it's only eventually that we'll see him in like live action and.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for.
I hope they actually, when we do, I hope they actually get an actor who is biracial.
Yeah. I'd be okay with them just picking a fully black actor and somebody that's biracial, but I don't want somebody that looks like, because you can walk that line where somebody looks too Latinx. And that's not what he is in the comics. Yeah. So like, as long as you guys have the right hairstyle or like the right hair texture, he's not like super light. Yeah. Like if somebody that comes in looking like Mark Anthony shows up as Miles Morales, I swear to God, I'm gonna lose my shit. If he looks like Bad Bunny, I'm gonna be pissed.
That's funny because have you read Spider-Man?
I haven't read it.
That was the second one. It's kind of focused on Earth 616, Miles Morales, and he doesn't look exactly like Mark Anthony, but he looks a tad similar to Mark Anthony, which is like, okay. When you said that, I was like, shit, that is who he looks like.
And I had never read that, so. If you guys are gonna do that, please don't. There's so many good like actors that fit in that age range that you can pick from. Yeah. You guys don't have to do this.
Like if Marvel Studios was one of those studios that just didn't care about the characters, I could definitely see them saying like, "Oh, we're going to adapt the 616 version of Miles Morales." Yeah, if just get a light skinned Mark Anthony look like.
If Fox had Spider-Man, Fox would do it. Yeah.
And he'd be 40 years old too.
It'd be a middle-aged, light-skinned Mexican kid or Mexican guy with 2 kids, a wife, and he works a construction job. Guaranteed. Fox would do the exact thing. Or they would just recast him and be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, and then just make him white.
Yeah, they would. Post-credit scene of one movie, he'd be like a black kid. Yeah. And then 2 movies later, he's a 40-year-old Mexican guy with 2 kids.
I wouldn't be mad at them doing Miles with like a super thick Latin accent.
Like a Puerto Rican. Well, yeah, his mom's Puerto Rican, right? So I wouldn't mind having that. That would be dope. Like to have a Spider-Man with an accent and be like black, and
it would be great.
I want to see that. And the suit, I don't know if I want them to like, because Into the Spider-Verse, I liked how he kind of just made Peter's old suit his suit. Yeah. But I don't know, like, because his suit's very not unique, but I don't want them to be like, oh yeah, he just made it. You know, like I want to know how like what they would do to give him his suit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, all these spider people can't be that great at sewing.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that. It's like all those pro violinists that are in the parking lots out here. I know damn well all those people can't play the violin that well. If they were that good, maybe they might still be in this situation. I don't know. I don't know what the community for violinists is out here, but I can't imagine we have that many prodigies out here, and they're all playing the same songs. Come on. But one more thing before we get into your story. I went on Twitter yesterday and I said that I only have one ask for Multiverse of Madness. If we're doing all this multiversal stuff, all I'm asking for one character in this movie. It's not too late to add him in.
Who is it?
Lou Ferrigno.
That'd be pretty dope.
It sounds crazy. When you look at a picture of Lou Ferrigno as a Hulk, it sounds nuts. But I wouldn't be mad at it being in there.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how they would do it, but I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, he's not in the same body shape as he was back then, but you can definitely do like a, Doctor Strange flying through like the multiverse or something, and then I don't know, you can either digitally recreate Lou Ferrigno and put him in there, or just have a clip from the show or something.
We saw them do like the different time frames with like WandaVision, the 70s, 50s, 60s, stuff like that. You could do the same thing with Doctor Strange for 10 seconds. Just have him go back, change the grading on the filter or whatever, and then just throw him back there for a bit.
I can see that. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind, because they should do that and bring the Japanese Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that'd be dope.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That, and then I saw yesterday that they actually had a Captain America show it was a live action show. It was in 1944, and I only saw pictures of it, but throw him in there.
So I trust that the movie's going to be good, but I heard that like the reshoots they did were to add a bunch of cameos in there, and I don't want it just to be like a big cameo movie. Like,
well, you know what the thing is I do think we're gonna get cameos and stuff, but I feel like it's gonna be like Endgame style, where like we see everybody come in and we might see people like as we're panning through, but I don't think that all of the cameo. I don't think he's gonna stop in like all these different places and talk to Tom Cruise, Iron Man. I swear to God, I'm gonna be pissed if I see Tom Cruise pop up on my screen. It seems like it's a great possibility.
It would be interesting.
A little 5-foot Iron Man. Get out of here. Just put Kevin Hart in the suit. He's taller. What? It's going to be Tom Cruise in an Iron Man suit jumping on Oprah's couch.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, as long as they do the cameos right, I'll be fine with it. I just don't want it to be the main focus of everything.
Yeah. Because they gotta spend some time with like the new characters too.
Yeah.
But I can imagine it's gonna be a short movie.
Yeah, because I can't imagine with all I haven't seen which cameos are going to be there. I've just heard rumors. You can't just, unless you do like a scene where they're just jumping through different universes and like the characters like turning around or something, or like they're interacting with them. Like you're either doing that in one group of scenes or you're spreading it out throughout the movie. And if you're spreading out the movie, then it's like, okay, is this a movie about these cameos or is it a movie about,
But that's the hard part too, though, because if you just like say it's like a quick like 2-minute sequence where they're just popping into different universes and we see a John Krasinski Captain America and Tom Cruise Iron Man and whoever played the Hulk before, Mark Ruffalo, stuff like that. We just pop in and like we see all these people. Is like, does that? I feel like that makes it like a little cheap pop. Like, hey, check this out. This.
Yeah.
And then we just go off. And if you do it, I feel like you have to kind of spend a little bit of time talking to these people because I feel like it's really cheap and shitty to just pop them in.
Unless they do like an Endgame style, like big of like at the end he grabs like all these people to help him fight, whatever threat they have. So then you see, the old Hulk, Eric Bana's Hulk, and Lou Ferrigno's Hulk, and John Krasinski's Captain America.
But then, like, you get all the people who are gonna be like, "Oh, this is just Endgame all over again," because he's the one who brought everybody to the battlefield there too.
True. I mean, but America Chavez could be she. I think she can bring people through
Yeah,
universes, so it could be her.
I'm excited for her too.
Yeah, sold on the actress that they cast as her.
She looks really young.
Yeah, that was the only thing. I don't know her acting or anything, but and I'm not too familiar with America Chavez in the books either. But she just looked younger than what she looks like in the books, so I was a little worried about that. But
She in the movie, or at least from the stills that they've shown us, she looks like she's like 13.
yeah, and I was like, that seems a little young.
Yeah. I'm sure they're writing her older than
Yeah.
that, but yeah, she looks really young.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm still excited.
I feel like she's gonna do good.
Yeah, I like this this Phase 4 too because there's just more people of color.
Yeah, yeah. The Avengers, the Hulk doesn't count, but they're all just a bunch of white people.
Not that kind of color. Damn it! Oh, and then bring Terrence Howard back as Rhodey too.
You should bring him back as what's his face from Hustle and Flow as a War Machine.
The hell's going on, man?
Who you need me to pop?
Oh man, that would be just don't even bring him. Yeah, bring him back. Bring his Hustle and Flow character back as him acting like other characters. I don't even care which character you pick. Have him be the Hulk. That would be amazing. He talks like when Hulk first came in, like the kind of broken English, but still as Terrence Howard's character in Hustle and Flow.
That would win Oscars.
Yeah. And if you don't put it in the movie, at least just make it a deleted scene.
Have 3 6 Mafia do the theme song.
Yeah. And then there you go. You'll win an Oscar for sure. All right. What do we got this week?
So this week, we got I don't want to say a long story, but it crosses over with a few characters. This is a story about capitalism and the evils of it.
2 weeks in a row, we're hitting some deep topics here.
And so what we're doing is we're reading The Corporation. So what this is exactly what I was talking about. So there's this evil kind of, I wouldn't say evil actually. I'd just say it's a seedy underworld type of corporation that all they do is see money. They don't care what it involves or who they have to kill. Or actually, they don't really kill. That's bad for business. They don't care who they have to steal from or what they have to do in order to get what they want to make money. And so this story, we're actually going to touch on a few different characters and jump to a few different stories.
Who?
We are going to meet up with, I don't know if anyone's familiar, I have the main characters here, I'm going to read them off. So we're going to meet up with Machine Man. So if you don't know, he's the lone survivor of a government project to create highly advanced human passing machines. The robot known as X-51 was taken in by its creator and treated like a real person. This caused him to think and feel like a human. But when the project was shut down and the military came for the machine, his creator was killed protecting him. He took his creator's name, Aaron Stack, and so now he goes by the name Aaron Stack, aka Machine Man.
I feel like I've heard of him before.
Prior to this reading, we catch up with Stack in the middle of an official government hearing as the country and the people in it wonder how safe they are with him as their Machine Man hero. We're also going to meet up with Captain America, the Sentinel of Liberty. Feeling as if someone has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and his best friend Falcon is missing, Steve is on the hunt to find out who the traitor is and how it relates to his missing friend. And then we also have Hulk. The big guy's back, and he's more angry than ever, being kept on what is known as Gamma Base. It's basically just a huge military base where they're protecting, quote-unquote, protecting him. The team there is looking for a way to try and show the world that Hulk is and can be a valued member of society, even though there are some looking to prove the idea wrong. And so if you're wondering, what does the Hulk, Captain America, and Machine Man have to do with capitalism? No idea. Well, let's get into it. There's going to be some side characters too. So one of them being, Jim Wilson, which is Sam Wilson's nephew.
Okay.
Jim is actually Hulk's friend at this point. He's really the only person Hulk would listen to. Mm-hmm. And so he's on Gamma Base as well to kind of help calm Hulk when he gets a little out of control. We also have Leonard Samson, a.k.a. Doc Samson.
Okay, he showed up before.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he had. But he's the leader of Gamma Base. So he doesn't really want to be the leader, but is there because he is a psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. Just because he's a psychiatrist, he shows up a lot. But he's been put in charge of making sure the Hulk's image is spick and span and that he can reform the Hulk to be a force for good rather than destruction.
Spick and span sounds racist.
It did, yeah. Now that you say it, it really does. I don't want to dive into that.
We won't. We'll just keep going. But we apologize just in case it was.
It's like the rule of thumb.
What?
You know the origins of that?
Oh, yeah.
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 I just found out picnic was a bad word a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, we got to talk about this off mic. All right, and then we also have a new character called Marvel Man. Okay. He's a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s team of superpowered agents, and he wears quantum bands once worn by Marvel Boy. And so he can shoot beams from his wrists. And then we have Fred Sloan, not a superhero. He's Hulk's new hippie friend. Hulk saves him from a bar fight, and he just sticks around with Hulk from there. And just we're best friends now. We also have Dr. Spaulding, Aaron Stack's friend and supporter to the idea that he's a living being, and that he's also a force for good.
Okay.
And then lastly, Colonel Cragg, Army colonel who was once skeptical of Machine Man, but after being saved by him, it began to see how good of a man he actually is.
Okay.
All right. So we'll kick off with Machine Man. And if you guys want to read these, it's Machine Man number 7 through 9. All right. So the story starts with they're on Capitol Hill or something of the like. And there's a hearing of government officials basically saying, Machine Man, we don't know exactly what you're capable of, who you're working for, if anybody, or, you're a machine and we don't trust you.
Yeah.
And they don't decide then and there, but they say, we're going to decide a hearing at some later point. So get yourself a lawyer and lawyer up. And so they're leaving the building, and the crowd outside is totally against them. Oh, you're evil. You're a machine. You have no feelings.
These people have had superheroes in their lives for like 50 years. When are you guys going to get past this whole thing?
They're prejudiced. Come on now.
They are not here to help or hurt you guys. They're just here.
And so they're all just like throwing these insults at him. And from the inside the crowd, Machine Man sees this man getting pickpocketed. And so he extends his arm, stops the crime, and then all of a sudden everybody's ideas of him just change. They're just like, whoa, this guy's
Get
a hero.
Get him out of here. He stops the pickpocket. Yeah.
Hero.
Machine Man.
Kiss my baby. And so that changes everybody's opinion of him. And so when he's leaving with Spaulding, they're driving back to his house, and then they get attacked by this just random robot on the side of the road, which is being controlled by another guy on the side of the road.
From across the street.
Yeah, literally. And they get into this fight. Machine Man takes out the machine, and then the guy's just angry at him for destroying it for some reason. And they get back to Spaulding's place. Spaulding and Machine Man at this point aren't like best friends, but their trust is growing for each other. Spaulding walks into the room and just tells Machine Man, hey, I think, as long as we find a lawyer, I think you have a good chance. And I'm beginning to really see you as a person, not just bolts and electronics. And so they have a little heart-to-heart. They go to bed. And then Machine Man wakes up the next morning and finds a letter saying, if you want Spaulding alive, go outside and get in the helicopter. And so he goes outside, gets in this helicopter waiting, and it just flies him through these mountains. It looks like almost a jungle, but they're in California, so I don't know how far they had to fly to get there. But they just drop him down this missile silo. They're just flying, And all of a sudden, the pilot hits this button and he just falls. And that's the end of that issue, issue number 7. Issue number 8, we jump to, and inside this missile silo, Machine Man is not worried at all. He's like, I can literally fly. I can just get out of here. Like,
whatever.
What's your big plan here? And he hears this voice say, if you want Spaulding alive, you're going to make this deal with us. We want you to show us how you're made so we can make more of you. And if you stick around, Spaulding can leave, no problem. And then Machine Man's just like, well, how would I know you're not going to kill him? And the voice says, well, killing's bad for business. You have our word. And so Machine Man's like, cool, like, yeah, I'll stay. You just let Spaulding go, and,
That's the thing that I've never understood about anything.
I just don't understand things.
I don't understand things in general. When somebody kidnaps you and then starts promising that they're going to do stuff for you, I'm not really going to trust that. Like, you kidnapped somebody from my house and then said, if you want this guy back, meet me in the helicopter outside.
Yeah.
First of all, you shouldn't have got in the helicopter. And then, granted, you're a machine. I get it. You probably don't process these things the way that I would. I'm a civilian. But they dropped you down a missile silo, and then we're like, do this, and he's safe. And then you're just like, how do I know you're not going to kill him if I do it?
Yeah. You would think.
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you would think they were going to just, like, kill him or, give us your secrets and then they kill him or something, But, no, they literally put him on another helicopter and just drop him back off at home.
Like
don't tell anybody.
You keep your mouth shut, Machine Man.
And so, they let Spaulding go. They take him back to his house. free to go and go about his day. And Machine Man is like, all right, what do you want from me? And he basically gets the face-to-face with the man in charge. Mm-hmm. His name is Jackson. Okay. And Jackson tells him, I work for the corporation. We just want one thing. We want to make more of you so we can sell them and make money. And so they're
trying to weaponize him?
Yeah. And so Machine Man's like, got it. And he hits the booster jets and flies out of there. And
all I need to know.
So he's flying out, but they shoot him with this like heat laser thing that fries his circuits. He comes crashing back down. They come and pick him up, and then next thing we know, he's strapped to a table. And then they're working on taking him apart, learning his secrets and all that. At this point, they're deeper inside the silo. And so Machine Man, while they're working on him, he's also working on himself inside. And so he turns his fingers into like lasers, and he melts, because there's a big laser that'll mess with his circuits again that's pointed at him. He melts that and then puts himself back together and beats up the goons. And at this point, Jackson is like, okay, mission failed. We got to get out of here. So he hits the detonation button, which is basically the whole place is lined with like a nuke, or, a nuke is set up. So they're all running out of there. Machine Man is trying to figure out how to get out of there. And he puts on his roller skates and just jumps on the track that Jackson and all of his men used to get out. And he took a little bit longer to get out than they did. So he's still, by the time the bomb goes off, he's still going to be within range of it. So he puts on the boost with his real roller skates, and he's on the track, zoom in. And then, meanwhile, Spaulding is back home. He goes back to the military base to let Colonel Cragg know what's going on. Because Cragg now is, like I said before, he is okay with Machine Man. He sees him as a hero. So they both hop in the helicopter.
Did you see him as a hero because he saved the pickpocket, or stopped the pickpocket?
He sees him as a hero because Machine Man saved him before. And so, they get Spaulding and Cragg. Spaulding doesn't know exactly where the missile silo was. He just knows general idea. And so they're just flying around looking for God knows what, a missile silo or something. And Machine Man is still trying to get out of the base. He's almost there. But then all of a sudden, while Crag and Spaulding are flying, the mountain explodes. Big nuclear explosion.
I think that might be it.
And they think Machine Man's gone. That's issue number 8. Issue number 9 starts with Machine Man walking into the Capitol building, fine as can be. And we find out that while he was skating, he knew he wasn't going to make it a safe distance. He was still going to be within the blast radius. So what he did was he calculated exactly the moment that the bomb was going to explode and the blast radius was going to get to him. Mm-hmm. And he basically dug himself a hole with his lasers and hid in the hole. So by the time he was far enough down, the blast was over him. And so after the blast, then he just came back up, saw Spaulding and Crag just flying around looking for him, and just decided, like, hey, I'm safe. Like, let's go home.
Hey, down here. I'm good.
And so
he's using the lasers to, like, point at the...
And so after he explains that to all the other senators, he's still in the military base. They're walking through, and he sees a game of baseball going with some of the other military, soldiers. Mm. And he's like, hey, let me join. And they're like, yeah, come on. And this Machine Man is cheating the whole time.
He's a machine.
He's literally calculating where the ball's going to be to hit home runs.
See?
He's extending his arm to catch like home runs in the air that no one should have caught. And then when one of the soldiers complains like, hey, this isn't fair, his sergeant's like, don't be a baby, you're a soldier.
No, I get I'm a soldier and I'll fight who I need to fight, but
this is not a fair game.
Like, we came out here to just have fun. We don't get many chances to do this. And then I could have hit 2 dingers out of the park, and then this man extended his arm to calculate the exact spot.
And everybody's laying into this soldier like it's his fault. like he's out of reason for that.
I would have went AWOL after that.
And so after that, Spaulding and Machine Man go home, and they also found a lawyer in the meantime who's supposed to meet them there. But we cut to the corporation in their testing facility, and we see Jackson is actually talking to the quote-unquote lawyer. So his hitman that he's setting up is trying to be, is going to act as the lawyer so they can get Machine Man again and finally finish their plan. They go meet this lawyer, and instantly Machine Man's like, you're not a lawyer. And he attacks him. And so the small little fight breaks out between Machine Man and this assassin, and no one really comes out on top. Like, Machine Man's about to take him out, but then the assassin has what's that, a monocle? Mm-hmm. Which I think it's one piece of glass, but like if you shift it, it's 2 pieces, and for some reason that creates a spark that lights the whole room on fire. And so he escapes, and Machine Man and Spaulding escape the fire, and that's pretty much the end of issue 9.
For them not wanting to ever kill anybody because it's bad for business, they've already done some pretty...
Yeah, they don't want to... Multiple times they say it's bad for business, but then, like, Jackson, he shoots, 2 people.
You blew up a whole base, and then you guys dipped out and hoped that all of your lackeys could get out.
Yeah. I think it's only bad for business if it includes a main character hero.
Yeah, it's only bad for business if it kills the person that they were trying to get to their side.
If it's anybody else, good for business.
All right, whatever.
And so that ends that, and that's the last time we meet up with Machine Man for a while.
Okay.
So just remember, he was attacked by the corporation. They tried to get him twice. Nothing happened. And so now we jump to the Incredible Hulk. So at this point, like I said, Hulk is on Gamma Base. They're trying to show, that he's a good civilian, a good person, or a creature, whatever, that he's a force for good. And he's really not having any of it. I mean, at this point, at any point, really, the Hulk is like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to do it if he doesn't want to do it. You try to help him, he says he doesn't need help. Mm-hmm. He's just going to always fight back. And so... he has Jim Wilson there, his friend, and so they hang out a lot. And Jim is always like, "You're doing great, Hulk. You're the best." And Hulk is just like, "Thanks. I need words of inspiration and support." Yeah. And everyone else is just like, "You need to calm the F down. You need to chill, man. making all of us look bad. And Samson is really just not helping. As a psychiatrist, not doing anything.
I mean, what do you do when your guy turns green every time he gets pissed off?
Yeah, I mean, at some point you're gonna get fed up. Just like, can you just calm down?
Yeah, you just call him one day. Hey, how's it going? Shut up. And he's like, hey, all right.
Yep, and then he's just writing his book. He's getting a little bit better.
It's better than what he told me last week.
Just F you. And so Hulk is there. They're just doing running tests on him, making him lift things and punch things and all that. And it's late at night. Well, we see Samson get a call from somebody, and it's from a doctor, Dr. Sofen. That's her. Sofen. Sofen.
Okay.
Sofen, whatever. And she's basically saying, "Hey, I'm interested in helping you with your work here. I really want to help out." But what we don't know is Dr. Sofen is actually a super villain named Moonstone. She actually took the power from a different Moonstone, which is a male. Basically, it just gives them super strength. They can shoot lasers and turn and phase through walls. And basically, she was hired by the corporation to infiltrate the base to get secrets on the Hulk and everything else going on in there. So she calls Samson and says, "I want to work with you." He's like, "Yeah, cool. No, I don't need to check your credentials, doctor."
You guys don't vet. Like, you guys have the Hulk here, and you're keeping him here. You don't vet who you're going to bring in here. Like, I feel like that's a months-long kind of thing.
Yeah, you're not just getting a call and be like, "Yeah, if you can be here by 5, it's watch yours."
Yeah, I mean, I got to go to lunch at 2, but if you want to meet me after that.
I'm free, yeah. And so she shows up, and she shows up and helping out Samson.
And get jobs like that. Hey, I want to work with you guys. All right, we got a spot.
You have experience? No? All right.
Hey, we'll train you. All right.
You'll learn on the job. And it's late at night. Hulk is sleeping, and Sofen is like, "All right, this is my time." And so she turns into her Moonstone persona, and sneaking around the base, going through walls, looking for what she's looking for. She eventually finds it, and she thinks she's like home free. But Hulk wakes up, and he thinks that he's locked in his room, but they actually just don't lock the doors because they don't want him to break anything. So he's just wandering around the base, through the hallways and everything, but he walks through a laser, which sets off a silent alarm elsewhere in the base, just saying Hulk is around. But Sofen doesn't know that. She thinks it's an actual alarm. And so she freaks out and she's trying to escape, but she runs into the Hulk. Hulk thinks he's still asleep and he's dreaming. And so he tries to like grab her and she shoots him with the laser, which sets him off, of course. So they have a whole fight. And obviously she has no chance of winning this fight. So her idea is that she needs to just get away from him. And what she does is actually kind of smart. She waits until... She backs herself into a corner and waits until Hulk basically punches through the wall and grabs her for her to turn back into Dr. Sofen. So when everybody outside sees it's not Moonstone, it's Dr. Sofen that he's holding, fainted. And so everyone freaks out. Hulk jumps down and is like, "Hey, you're not... This isn't the same, mean lady that hurt me." And Samson's blowing up on him, like, "Put her down, what's going on?" And then, as everyone's focused on that, Sofen blows up, like, a gas line, which causes another explosion. Samson gets pushed out the way by Hulk, so then he's like, "Hulk, you did it, you saved us." But then Hulk gets mad at him, and then Samson calls Hulk, basically a dumbass. And so it goes back and forth real quick. And then Hulk goes on a rampage on the base. Sofen turns back into Moonstone. And then plays the part of the hero to save everybody. Then she's fighting Hulk and everything. Still, no, she's not going to come out on top. And for some reason, General Ross just a little bit of backstory on General Thunderbolt Ross. Hulk's probably number one enemy. His ex-wife's father, who hates him and just sees him as a monster, currently is going through major, mental health issues, where he is depressed from his daughter not talking to him. I think he's lost his job and a bunch of other stuff. And so he sees Dr. Sofen turn into Moonstone, and then he has a mental breakdown and just collapses. I think he has a mental seizure and just shakes and then falls over. And Hulk is like, oh, damn, you hurt General Ross, and I'm going to hurt you, Moonstone. But then everyone shows up, and they're like, they think Hulk did it. So then Hulk is like, I'm done. I'm leaving. So he jumps away, and that's the end of that issue. He jumps away, and next time we see him, he's in a cornfield, just enjoying some corn.
Loves those fields.
Just, enjoying himself, doing his thing. But there's a bunch of farmers watching him, and they're like, we got to take this guy out. We can do it. We get enough of us, we can just... And that's the thing I don't get. You've seen this creature rampage for years on TV.
If the Hulk just showed up one day and rampaged anywhere, the whole world would hear about it.
Yeah.
And you guys would also see that people have tried to stop this thing.
Yeah. Tanks. Robots.
You've seen him rip airplanes or helicopters out of the sky and drag them to the ground.
But you have a tractor
and you're a farmer,
a pitchfork
with a shotgun probably,
and you think, we got this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it.
And so we all know how this is going to turn out.
Not great.
These farmers get their asses kicked, and then in the middle of the fight, I kid you not, Hulk gets abducted by an alien. Just beam sucked up into a spaceship, alien.
When we read these stories, it's funny because I've been trying to read them and take myself out of living in the real world, and just going straight into the comic.
Mm.
And yeah, they live in a world where stuff like this can happen. There's aliens, everything, but it just I thought this was a story about corporations and greed and money.
And that's the thing, it is.
And then he gets abducted by an alien. I did not expect that.
This alien does not show up anywhere else in this story. This is never touched upon again at all.
Of course.
And so this alien abducts him and basically thinks that he's the answer to this alien's problems. Mm-hmm. His planet is dying and his people need food. And he thinks the Hulk, I think, is the answer to vegetation and growing food.
He saw the Hulk in somebody's farm, just tearing shit apart. He's like, that guy's farming this farm like crazy.
I don't really fully understand what his thought process was. I don't know if he thinks he's vegetables.
That's one big ass vegetable. I gotta take him home.
And so him and Hulk have a fight. He's trying to get samples for his study and everything. He eventually gets Hulk's nails, or a piece of his nail, which is sufficient enough, I guess, to get his DNA, I guess. And Hulk basically, after, punches a hole in the ship and jumps out. And the alien's like, cool, now I can save my civilization, and then flies off planet, and that's pretty much it.
He goes back home. He's trying to tear apart the DNA, trying to figure it out. And then all of a sudden, he just has he doesn't have enough of the DNA, so he ends up having these miniature Hulks.
He just has Hulk vegetables that are just super strong tomatoes.
Yeah. Or what if he just ends up making just humans? He didn't get enough of the Hulk part.
Yeah. If a piece of the Hulk falls off, does it stay the Hulk?
I don't know.
I wonder.
He breaks off a piece of the Hulk's fingernail and then gets it back and it just shrinks even smaller.
Just Bruce Banner's nail.
Yeah. He flies all the way back. I got it. And then everybody's it's just a little piece of sand. It's what the hell? We sent you to get help. You brought back one little grain of glass.
Yeah. Weird. It was a weird...
He's getting booted off his planet as soon as he gets back.
It was such a weird, turn of events. I was like, okay, this is going to come up at some point during the rest of this, and no, it doesn't. So yeah, Hulk jumps out of the ship. Next, we see him walking down the street of some town. It's nighttime, but he's just strolling down the street, and then all of a sudden, a man flies out of a building. Not like superhero flies, but flies like he was thrown out. And another man comes running out after him, basically just saying, "I'm tired of you damn hippies with your long hair. I try to be patient with you, but you're pushing my buttons." And so he's beating up on this guy, and Hulk sees it, and the guy that's beating up on the hippie is wearing like army fatigues, or what looks like army fatigues, which gives Hulk a bout of PTSD, because now he's like soldiers, and so he grabs the guy, and I'm pretty sure kills him, because he throws him through a window. But this man, his neck is so far back, like looking back, that just the idea of flying through a window at that angle, you're shredding up your neck. Your neck is not coming out fine.
He's dead.
And so he just flies through the window. Hulk rampages through the bar and just destroys everything. Luckily, no one else gets hurt, I don't think. But the guy, the hippie, is like, "Hey, man, like, thanks for helping me out. We're friends now." And Hulk's like, "Well, I guess. Like, I don't really need friends, but whatever." And so the guy, his name is Fred. He just says, "All right, well, come home with me. We'll hang out." And so the next morning, we see Fred wake up.
And they're next to each other in bed.
Then not Sam Wilson and Captain America. Fred wakes up, and Hulk is asleep in one of his extra bedroom. And Fred's girlfriend just comes home, or she's already awake making breakfast. And then Hulk wakes up because he smells the food, and she's not having it. So she is like, "I'm done with you," and just breaks up with Fred. And so he's...
Fred, this is the third big person you brought home this week.
I like collecting them. They're cool. I'm small, they're big.
He fit in the house. What's the big deal?
It's only because he walked through the hole from the other guy.
Fred, I don't have enough bacon. I have enough bacon for 2 people. I told you to get bread yesterday. We have 3 slices. What do you want me to feed this guy?
I need you to get a job and stop bringing home big people.
You've been at the bar for 6 hours every night for the last 2 weeks. How are you paying for this?
Listen, there's a big guy that's going to pop up at some point. I gotta be there.
And what is that cut on your forehead?
A big guy hit me. And so, yeah, she leaves them, and then he's just like, "Well, I guess I'm not good at love." And so Hulk is just eating all the food, and Fred's just like, "Okay, well, if we're going to hang out, you should come to Berkeley with me. Like, I was going to go to Berkeley, so come on, and come with me." And Hulk's like, "All right, whatever. I've never been to Berkeley." So they hop in Fred's van, and Hulk basically just ruins the suspension on that thing.
Yeah.
And they're strolling down the street. We cut back to Gamma Base, and Samson he's not doing good. We have 2 senators that show up. Senator Hawk and Senator... What's this other guy's name? Because it's not his real name. That's why I forget. I think it's Senator
Hawk was in that last Hulk story, too.
Stuyvesant. Senator Stuyvesant. Mm-hmm. And so they show up, and they want to know what's going on here. Like, millions of taxpayer dollars are going into this thing, and so far we haven't seen any results. Hulk is missing. Do you have any idea where he's at? Is he going to go on another rampage? Like, your job is to make sure that he's a good civilian. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, Samson's, "I don't know. You know, he's gone. You guys aren't really telling me what I need to do here." And so it's Samson, Sofin, Stuyvesant, and Hawk all in this meeting. Mm-hmm. And
how did Sofin get in this meeting? She just started there.
She probably just called somebody and said, "Hey, can I join this meeting?" They're like, "I guess."
"Hey, you think I can get a promotion?"
Someone's like, "Ma'am, I don't even know what I do here." For all I know, you could be my boss. I could be your boss.
I don't even know if I could actually hire you in the first place.
And so Stuyvesant is talking, and he keeps dropping these hints to Sofin that he knows that she works for the corporation. Mm-hmm. He keeps just using random words that like are her code words and this and that. So she's like, he knows something. And we cut back to Fred and Hulk driving down the road, and they get stopped by the police. And Hulk's not having any of it. So he jumps out, beats the shit out of these cops. And Fred is just like, "Oh, like, you actually beat up anybody who gives you problems, not just bad people. And so he's kind of freaked out. And the police who stopped him actually had a chance to put out like an alert saying, Hulk is here or whatever. And so Gamma Base gets that call, and Styvac and Soften were like, okay, we'll go get Hulk, and they bring Jim Wilson with them. We'll go get him, and then you guys take care of things here. So on the plane, we find out that Styvac is actually working for the corporation too. He goes by the name Kliger, and so he knocks out Jim Wilson, and he's going to use him as bait to get Hulk to show up. And is that it? I think that's the last issue. And so, then we run into Fred and Hulk again. And this time they get stopped by more police, but Fred is smoking that good.
Yeah, that's why Fred went to Berkeley.
And Hulk is getting sleepy by the smelly grass, and he turns back into Bruce Banner. And so they get pulled over by the police again, but these aren't any normal police. These are corporation agents. And so they shoot Fred and Bruce Banner, and then they take them to their... they load them up in the truck and then take them to Alcatraz. And so they do that, and then we're going to jump to Captain America at this point. So at this point, Captain America is doing... Sam Wilson's gone. He went to the West Coast on a mission, but no one's heard from him. And he has a feeling that there's a mole in S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. And so he's also working with S.H.I.E.L.D. on a team of super beings called the S.H.I.E.L.D. Super Agents. And it has Marvel Man, a guy named Blue Streak. I want to say his name is Texas Tornado. And then someone named Vamp. She's basically can just siphon people's strength and be as strong as they can. And so Captain America knows he can't really trust anybody, so he's kind of doing things on his own. He goes to an old S.H.I.E.L.D. base in the middle of the city. So it's a barber shop. You sit on the chair, and then it brings you down through the thing.
What movie was that in? Did somebody had...
that
was in...
I feel like that's a trope in a lot of movies.
I know, but it was in a MCU thing. Maybe it was Agent Carter.
Maybe.
I think it was Agent Carter. They did that.
Yeah. And so he goes down to the base. It's cleared out, empty. He calls his friend Jasper Sitwell, and he's like, hey, what's going on here? Why is the base empty? And he's like, oh, you didn't hear? We're destroying that base. Like, we're going to blow it up. It's already been compromised. And he's like, what? Like, why? And he's like, well, stuff's going on. I can't really stop the detonation, so you got to get out of there now. And right when he says that, the supervillain Constrictor, who is snake-based, so he has two kind of like long coils that come out of his wrist, and he can control them kind of like Dr. Octopus and grab things and whip you. But he can also electrocute you if the coils are touching you. And so Cap and him have a fight. Of course, Cap wins, but the base is still going to blow. Yeah. And so it blows up. Luckily, Cap has a shield, so he protects him and Constrictor. But they need to get out of there. I
was wondering if you left Constrictor in there.
So he's dragging Constrictor's, almost lifeless body through this rubble, and he remembers there's an escape exit, so they get through the exit. And when they get to the top of the street, he's like, who sent you? Why are you after me? And he tells them, oh, I can't tell you. They're going to kill me. And he just says, tell me now. Where's Sam Wilson? And he says, the corporation sent me to stop you. So he's like, oh, now the corporation knows I'm here. And if they knew that, there's only two people who knew that I was there. It's either Jasper or one of the agents of the superheroes. And he decides that it's not Jasper, so it must be one of the other agents. And so what he does is he goes to the base where they're training, and he just says, one of you is a spy for the corporation, and I know it's one of you. Because he thinks if he just says that, they'll just kind of fold and tell him, oh, it's me. So they all decide, oh, this must be like a training exercise. Let's fight him. So they all attack Captain America, and one of them does think like, okay, he knows what's going on. The jig is up. And so they all start going at him one after another, and Cap just takes all of them out, no problem. And he finds out that one of them actually it's the Blue Streak. And this guy just has rollerblades. I don't know.
What is with the rollerblades?
It's weird. He gets beat, and then Vamp is like, "Oh, I gotta, this guy's a traitor. We gotta kill him."
Mm-hmm.
So she starts just beating his ass. It's just like bam,
Blue
bam.
streak.
Yeah, and Cap is like, "No, don't do that. I need to know, what's going on." So she beats him to almost like an inch of his life, and he's like, "Oh, I don't care. I'm gonna die anyways. So I'm just gonna tell you." The corporation has Sam Wilson in Alcatraz, and so Cap is like, "Cool, Alcatraz." It's all the way on the East Coast
So
or
now
West Coast.
Fred, the Hulk, and Sam are in Alcatraz.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Cap is like, "Okay, I need to go to Alcatraz now, but I can't go with Shield because there may be other moles in there. So I need to find some way to do it." He goes to Avengers Mansion to see if any of his friends can help him. For some reason, Tony's not there. The only person who really could.
You'll hear next week, probably why Tony wasn't there. He's the least reliable Avenger there is.
And so who's in? I think in the mansion right now, it's Hercules, Thor, and Beast.
Okay.
And Beast is like nursing a hangover.
He's never helped.
And so Cap tells everybody the story, what's going on. Thor offers to fly him there, but he's just like, "No, I'm fine. I don't want to be flown from the East Coast to the West Coast on your back. Like, that's not gonna...
In 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't go over there with a hangover.
And then Hank is like, "Well, let me see. I think I got some extra cash I can give you." So they go to his room, and he breaks his piggy bank, and he has like $4.95.
What?
Like, you knew how much money was in that bank.
And what was the cash for, man? What was the cash for? Just hop in the Quinjet and go. If you needed help, you can go with him. What was the point of going to show that you only have $4? What was the point of that?
And so Cap's like, "Okay, well, I got to find some other way." And luckily, I was about to say Alfred. Jarvis shows up, and he's like, "Oh, I'll have some extra cash you can borrow, sir. Like, here you go." And so he gives him the money, and then Marvel Boy shows up, and he's like, "I want to go with you." And so does Vamp. Because they just figure, at this point, the SHIELD super team is done for. Texas Tornado quit the team, and then Blue Streak was a traitor, so we're just going to go with you. So they get there. They're on a boat to Alcatraz.
Real quick, imagine going on doing the tour for Alcatraz, and then all of a sudden you're just walking through, they're showing you all the cool stuff, and then you see Falcon and Hulk just trapped in the cell. You're like, what the hell? And then the rest of your day just goes to shit after that.
And so, the Steve, Marvel Boy, and Vamp are on this boat, all in their civvies, right? Mm-hmm. And then they take a tour in Alcatraz. And as the tour guide is talking, they kind of hang back, and then eventually they find a secret door. So they run through. They're just being, spies. And then all of a sudden they see a door that's like titanium and like brand new and all this. So they know that's where they need to be. And then Marvel Boy just all of a sudden just blasts a hole through the door, and Cap's like, "Well, there goes our our sly entrance."
Yeah.
And he just pulls his jacket off, and there's his Captain America outfit, like mask and everything. And I don't know where his shield came from,
where are you keeping that?
And so they all run in, and then they get into the room, and Hulk is tied up or I think it's Bruce Banner. One of them is on the table. Mm-hmm. And Sam Wilson is tied up to a submarine that's there. And Jackson's there.
Okay.
And so he's basically saying, "Hey, Cap, I'll trade you. Work for me, and your friend will live." Mm-hmm. And Cap, being Cap, is just like, "I got to do it for my friend. That's my boy. Like, I came all this way for not to just let him go."
Yeah.
And so he shows up, but then also Clyger shows up with Jim Wilson. And so he basically wants to trade Jackson and say, "Look, you need this guy. You need Jim Wilson if you want to also take care of the Hulk, if you want to control him." Mm-hmm. So you need him. Give me Captain America so I can kill him because I screwed up on some missions before for the corporation, and I need to do something to clear my name and, get back to on top. Mm-hmm. And so these two guys are having this trade-off. Cap is kind of, trying to sneak away and everything. A small little fight breaks out. Cap gets his ass whooped because Hulk at this point is broken out and they're all fighting, but he doesn't want any help from anybody. Long story short, Vamp is also a traitor. She worked for Clagger.
I was going to say, I just pulled up a picture of her. She looked pretty badass, too.
Yeah. And then she turned into, this big rage monster and fights Hulk. Moonstone and Captain America are fighting. Clagger gets killed because Jackson is like, you're coming for my job. In the corporation, your death means good for business. And so, whole thing goes bad, sideways for Jackson. Sam Wilson gets free by Captain America. Hulk beats Vamp. And then Jackson tries to escape. But his little room that he's in is actually like a submersible. So it shoots him off through a tube. Hulk chases after him. Captain America and Sam are free. And their story's done pretty much at this point. Hulk chases after Jackson through the tube. And even through the water, Hulk is adamant that he needs to get this guy no matter what. And so he's chasing him through the water. Jackson's like, I gotta get free. And then he finally escapes. But in the warehouse that Hulk jumps into, he hears, someone screaming. And so he opens this container, and it's Fred. He's still alive. He's still in his van, just tied up in this container. And so they both leave, and then he's like, Hulk, jump in my van again. We're almost in Berkeley. We're 20 miles. So they get to Berkeley, and then they meet up with Fred's friend, Trish, who actually is had history with Hulk, the Defenders. She's had a lot of history with superheroes. And she lives in a commune with a bunch of other people. And her and Fred are cool with the Hulk, but everyone else is like, why are you bringing this angry monster into my house?
That's why Fred keeps bringing people back. So you can take him over to Trish.
And these people are like, you can't bring him here. There's kids here. There's, this is all we have.
Yeah.
And we don't have much. You can't just bring him in here. And we barely have enough food to feed ourselves. But this guy needs literally all of our food just to stay, okay.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you guys are the worst. He's like, we used to love and share and want people to have freedom. And you guys are over here just suppressing us. You guys suck. And then they're just like, well, I guess we do suck. But one guy actually does call the police. And then they are infiltrated by, he calls an informant who is working for the corporation. Mm. And so the informant calls Jackson and says, hey, I know where the Hulk's at. I know what we need to do. Mm-hmm. So at night when Hulk's sleeping, they send a military team in to basically knock everybody out, paralyze Hulk, and then Machine Man walks in and he kidnaps Trish and says, if you want her alive, meet me at this address at this time. And then we find out that Machine Man is actually Jackson in a Machine Man suit. And so Hulk sees all this, but he can't move. He's paralyzed. Mm-hmm. Him and Fred. And so hours pass, and they slowly start becoming more able to move. And Fred and Hulk both are like, all right, we have to go save Trish. And so Hulk grabs Fred and then just jumps into the sky and is leaping towards wherever they're going to go. I don't know how he's going to find the address from leaping, but they do it.
Apparently knows his way around Berkeley.
And they eventually make it to Machine Man's house, and nobody is there. Not even Trish or anybody, but there's a corporation goon outside just watching the house, making sure. Mm. And so Spalding shows up, and Fred is like, where's Trish? And he pulls a gun on him. And he's like, I don't know who you're talking about, but why are you in my house? And Machine Man shows up, and him and Hulk have a fight. They're going back and forth. And then Hulk is ripping up the ground, like literally throwing the ground at Machine Man. And he gets deep enough to where there's electrical wires and stuff, and he decides that he's going to try to explode Machine Man with all these wires. And he causes a huge fire that blows up the whole town. I think the fire department says there's around 80% home casualties are caused by this. So this explosion happens. Everyone thinks that Machine Man and Hulk are dead, but we both know they're not. And so Machine Man actually flew Hulk away out of the explosion and used his mechanical prowess to do a mind probe and see exactly what Hulk saw to make him think that he had kidnapped his friend. Meanwhile, across town, at the corporation building, Jackson has Trish, and he has binoculars. He's watching the whole thing from his building.
Those are some strong ass binoculars.
And he's like, okay, my plan's going perfectly. Hulk and Machine Man are going to fight each other to the death, and that's one less thorn in my side. But he doesn't see his Machine Man and Hulk flying away after. And so Machine Man gets the probe and like sees what's really happening. As he's doing that and he lets go of Hulk, the memories flood back into Hulk, so he finally understands what's happening too. So he's like, oh, Jackson's actually still alive. Let me go get him. So he jumps all the way over to the building, and Jackson sees him like jumping towards him. And he's like, oh, crap, I got to get out of here. And his goon's like, yeah, let me get the helicopter. And, like, it doesn't, this part made me laugh because this goon is like, I'm going to go start the helicopter so we can get out of here. And then Jackson's like, yeah, I'm going to get out of here. And then shoots his goon. Like,
You was going to start that helicopter.
He's going to start it for you. Now you got to make it there and then start the thing.
And you got to hope that you know how to start it.
And so he shoots his goon and he grabs Trish. He's like, we're getting out of here. But before he gets to the helicopter, Hulk already comes and destroys the thing. And so Hulk is literally about to rip him to shreds, but Machine Man shows up and saves Jackson, which upsets Hulk to the point where he just destroys this whole 80-story building. Just destroys it, and then Machine Man gives Hulk or Jackson over to the police, and he gets arrested. Hulk knows Trish is fine at this point, so he's just like, okay, I'm just going to leave, and we'll be good. And then he leaves. Gamma Base is falling apart. Samson pretty much leaves his job. He's like, you guys got this. I'm going to go be an actual psychiatrist and do actual things that my job consists of.
He'll be back.
And then they leave Gamma Base into the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. At this point, Hulk is again in another field because he leaped away, and he is being watched by these mysterious figures who I think are planning a bigger event, a more famous event that we'll read later. And that is the end of my story.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it actually wasn't. It was long, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the espionage feeling of the Captain America ones.
Yeah.
The Hulk ones are kind of hard to read sometimes just because they're kind of boring. They could be kind of boring. But the Machine Man, I like the Machine Man ones. He's kind of snarky and like doesn't really trip about what's really going on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a nice feeling to get a different taste through all of it.
Yeah. I don't think I had ever heard of Machine Man until this.
Yeah, he looks just like a guy in like a purple suit, and then he has a human looking face, but he sometimes takes his face off, and it's just all mechanical and everything. But yeah,
Wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad. Long, but wasn't bad. And I think because that link you sent with what stories to read, it didn't include Machine Man. I think it said you could read it if you wanted to, but it's not essential. But it ended up kind of being essential.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And there's a bunch more on there.
Yeah, there was the list I sent you had like it had to be at least 20, 25 books on there.
It was a crazy amount.
It said it had stars next to the ones that it said were essential. So I figured that was a good enough list for it. But yeah, it had a whole bunch of tie-ins to everything.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not doing all that.
But essentially, you get the point. Essentially, the corporation is just an evil corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad. So what are you giving it this week?
I'm going to give it the stamp of approval.
Perfect.
It's like I just have a button that just like drops like a huge like press.
Every time we give a stamp of approval, somebody's house blows up. And guess what? I give this the webhead stamp of approval this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Versus some of the other stories that I read and didn't really care for.
Yeah.
This one I would say was a fun read. I felt like it wasn't like a waste of time, like some of the other ones I read.
Yeah.
And especially with reading like the older books, I've always wanted to. I felt like as a comic book reader, I should read older comic books.
Yeah.
And I feel like this one was like one that I can be like, yeah, I read that one, or I know exactly what's going on in that point in time.
Yeah. Because I felt the same. Because like I said before, like at least when I was younger, Dad would always be like, we'd hear a song on the radio, and then like if he knew it sampled something, you're like, hey, like, did you know this song took this part from this part? So it's like that's how I always like listen to music. It's like I know they sampled something, so let me go back and see
where it came from.
Sample came from. So now I appreciate this piece of work even more.
Mm.
So I tried to do that with comics too, and I mean that's essentially what this podcast kind of is. Like, cool, we have the movies, we have the TV shows now, the cartoons, but going back and reading these older things, even though some of them are shit, like, it helps you appreciate the stuff that we're getting now.
Yeah.
It gives you, like, this story, like, I'm going to look into more Machine Man stuff because he was interesting. Knowing some of the stuff in the future and then some of the stuff we've read before, I know that, like, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s just not a great...
Yeah,
it's not a great.
They don't have the best track record.
No. Like you'll see next week, they're horrible, and then Nick Fury's not really that great in the comics. Just like this, it's like that super cliche thing. It's like you got to go through some really shitty things to enjoy the good stuff. Yeah, some of these stories that we've done before has been some really bad ones, but it makes me appreciate ones like this more, even though it's not a big story that I've ever heard people talk about.
Yeah, I've never heard of. When I said I would read this one, I was like, what the hell is the corporation? And I was like, this is going to be the shitty story.
That's what I thought. But it turned out good.
Yeah.
And because it seemed like it was more concise, at least from what you told us. It was a lot more concise than I expected it to be. Because when I sent you that list, I was like, this is going to be the most convoluted story we've had.
And they usually are. So
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it all the time when they, when it jumps through like different, stories and books and everything. Like, it never really feels like it necessarily needs to go to that book or that character. But this one, like, all of their individual stories clearly, had something to do with that corporation.
Actually tied together and then ended.
Yeah.
So, not bad. I liked it. Webhead, stamp of approval.
It's 3 houses gone.
Yeah. But, you got anything else?
I'm good. Nothing from me.
That's another one down this week. We will be back next week with a story called the Korvac Saga.
Ooh.
It should be an interesting one. We got Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy together. So, on that note, I'll say peace out, guys. See you next week.
Peace out, bruvs.